right now. The fact that you have this ability to switch off the blood flow to your stomach so that you stop digesting food, so you've got more blood flow to fight and flight, that doesn't serve you right now, but it's still going to happen. It's still going to happen because what's in your brain, what's up here, is very old-fashioned wiring. It's very, very ancient. It's your limbic system that kicks in. It's your hypothalamic pituitary axis that kicks in. It's the cortisol, it's the adrenaline. All of it kicks in. You've got no choice. Except you do. Because you can override those. You can oppose those with the other chemistry that takes you back into that state where you're back in control. Because guys, stress makes us stupid. Stress makes us stupid. And when we start looking at the newsreel and scrolling mindlessly and letting that hit you in the face, you are affecting your earning potential. I have to say that in a very blunt and very bald way, because that's ultimately what this is. You need to remain in control of your state, even when, and especially when, global events are paying out. I'm not saying don't feel. I'm just saying be in control of what you're going to let yourself feel and for how long. That's the trick here. Because otherwise, what's the alternative? You might sink into this pit of feeling about all the pain. The world doesn't work like that either. The world lives on duality. If you only see the pain and you refuse to see the pleasure and you refuse to feel the other side of that, it's like pretending that there's only daytime and not night. It's like pretending that there's only sunshine and not rain. The yin and the yang of the world is set. That's how this universe operates. The masculine and the feminine, the night and the day, the seasons. We are all seasonal. And so what we're going to talk about today is money, but I want you to feel good about doing that because otherwise this won't land. This won't land with you. So I want you all to jump in the chat and just commit to opening your ears to this right now. Give me a yes. I need to see it. Why? I'm making you do something. I'm making you engage your neurology. I'm making your brain switch on. Yes, and straight in there. Let's go. Yes, from Alex. Yes, from Wendy. Good work, guys. Speedy fingers there. Speedy fingers. Yes, from Kialo. Good work. Come on, you guys, listening to me in the ether with your cameras off. I see you too. I see you lurkers. You're only allowed off this if you're driving. That's the only criteria on which you may not type back to me. I'm going to be watching. Why do I ask you to engage your neurology? That's the first trick I'm going to teach you today. We're talking about unlocking the money mystery. Why does money flow to some people and not others? Why does sometimes you find it easier to think about money than not others? Well, we've just talked about one big thing today, the limiting belief that there is an appropriate time to talk about money and an inappropriate time to talk about money. Now, that is a belief that does have parameters. There are times when it's not appropriate to talk about money, right? But what we have to do is disconnect ourselves from the geopolitical events in order to accept that our business still needs our love. Our business still needs our service. We think of ourselves as being a mechanic to our business. We've still got to service it. Hello, Julie. Love you. All the way from USA. So we still got to look after what we're doing in our world. Why? Because you've got a responsibility. Your mindset doesn't just affect you. It affects your family. It affects your children. It affects your peers. I'm a big fan of leading from the front. I'm a big fan of going first. And I will always go first. I will always put myself out there at the risk of getting shot down by the haters. I will do that for you. But I want you to follow. I want you to do the same. Because why? The world needs leaders. More than ever before, the world needs leaders. I run my Facebook community, the Sisterhood for Alpha Entrepreneurs. I very deliberately put the word alpha in there. Alpha doesn't mean that you're better than anyone else. It means you've set a higher standard for yourself. That's all. And by the way, guys, it's gender neutral. You're all welcome in. But it's about the sisterhood, the rise of the divine feminine. Why? Because the world needs both, right? We've been living in linear masculine for so long. For so long. We need to balance. We need to balance that yin and the yang that we talked about earlier. We must have the feminine energy in there. So the masculine is all about the doing. The feminine is all about the feeling into it afterwards. Guys, you need the feminine to balance your masculine as well. We've got to feel the feelings to do the doings. I'm going to start with the be, do, have continuum. So the be, do, have continuum is something I talk about a lot. We all want the having at the end. I literally have people come to me saying, I just need to get to those 10K months. Can you just fix that one, please? Thank you, please. And I just need to get to 100K a year, then I'll be happy. We get hung up on the having. We get so excited about the having, and then we get fixated on the doing. People come to me saying, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. How do you do what you do? Here's the magic that we're going to talk about today. The money mystery is all about understanding it's the first step. It's not about the what you do. It's about the who you are when you do it. It's about the being true to being in alignment with yourself. When you come from a place of complete integrity, other humans can feel you. I'm going to say that again because this is really important. When you come from integrity, when you come from being, other people can feel you. And that should give you chills, because we are still human chimps. We are still human animals. The reason my programs are all called Tame Your Brain, something or other. So we're currently on Tame Your Brain Money Magnet. Coming after that is Tame Your Brain, and it's Big Cat Business Brain. And, you know, after that, Tame Your Brain Procrastination. They're all Tame Your Brain. Why? Because if we can get in control of this, we can make our fingers do the magic. It's not the doing, it's the being. So remember, you're a human being, not a human doing. It's not about the doing, it's the being. And that's where the science blends with the woo. It's a little bit of the spiritual, the quantum mixing with the spirit, because what we have to do is first get clarity on who you really are. Do you know who you really are? Do you know what you're here to do? That's where you need to start. And that's what we do in every Tame Your Brain program. And that's what I come here every month to talk about, is getting you back to that place where you're in total alignment. But that doesn't sound as sexy as the 10K months, does it? That doesn't sound as like, woohoo! So people get hung up on the having, they get hung up on the LV bags and the red bottom shoes and the, here's my new Lamborghini. And we call this Lamborghini marketing because it works. It works. You put a picture up of a Lamborghini, oh, look at my life. Everyone goes, oh, we want a bit of that. You put a picture up of you feeling into yourself. What does that even look like, right? It's not as obviously sexy. It's not as obviously accessible. But when we think about what does it look like, it looks like, firstly, understanding how you serve. So I want you right now, pick up your pen, guys, because you know we always make these interactive. Why? I'm engaging in this. I'm getting your neurology working with you so that it begins to resonate and you begin to feel this stuff. I'm not here to deliver information. I'm here to deliver integration every time. Every time. Pick up your pen and write down, I serve. Who do you serve? Start with that. And now look at that statement you've just written and think to yourself, does that resonate? Do I get excited by that? Does it thrill me to wake up every day and serve this group of people? And here's a clue. If you don't have a full body yes feeling to that, you might be in the wrong market. You might be in the wrong market. And again, I can help you with this. This is not rocket science. This is really basic business 101. This is what I do with people all day long. But if you look at that statement and you go, yeah, that's right. So mine is I serve entrepreneurs. I get so excited about that. About 80% of my market is female entrepreneurs, but I've also got some C-suite executives. I've got some high-level people as well. I've got people just starting out, but the gender doesn't matter. The thing is, it's what you're doing. I used to train into big business, like really big business, like multi. I trained for Merck Pharmaceutical, for example, fourth largest big pharma, and people like the mighty banks and people like the mighty recruitment agencies, and I trained for those guys. I get more excited by training you guys. I've just realized that through time. I get more excited helping you guys take your empowerment into your own hands than I do with making yet more millions by training up a sales team in a big corporation. I can still do that, but it's just not as thrilling to me. And I noticed that about myself, that I get more excited by this. Do you know how I noticed? Because I was self-sabotaging. So let's talk about the 3 pillars for money magnetism, because my courses are called things that tell you a bit about what they do. So my current course that I'm running, and guys, you can all sign up to this if you are interested in becoming a money magnet, if you want wealth to flow to you. That's what I specialize in, is like turning on a tap so that money just rushes towards you. That's what it feels like when you're in flow. Is its grace and its ease, and you stop. You know what you stop? You stop clinging on to that riverbank. You stop clinging on to those branches that you think are going to save you, and you just let go. You just float, and you float downstream, and you just, by going with the flow, do you know what? Water's supposed to flow. Money's supposed to flow. A pool of water gets stagnant. a pool of money gets stagnant. You have to be ready to invest in yourself. You have to be ready to move money. So, for example, I pay Genius U. I'm a partner with Genius U because it lets me talk to you guys. That's a flow of money that happens because I was willing to invest in that partnership. I'm a big fan of getting coaching. I've got 2 coaches at any one time. I pay for that and it flows more towards me. Does that make sense? Money is flow. And so Money Magnet, we talk about these pillars. We talk about what is it that you need to shift. Now, the first is very interesting. I'm going to tell you a little story about me here. I'm going to do a little personal share, which I don't always do in masterclasses. But bluntly, guys, your journey as an entrepreneur is you versus you. And it's you versus time. Now, we all know that time is pretty unforgiving, don't we? We all know that time does not really give you much quarter. So what can you change? You can change you. You can change the way that you interact with the world around you. And I'm going to rephrase that so it's even stronger. You must change the way that you interact with the world around you. Because if you don't, who is going to? If not you, then who? And if not now, then when? Which is why I started by talking about our positioning right now in the geopolitical events of the world. Because if not now, when are you going to feel like giving yourself permission to work on you? We are already in March. We are already 1/4 of the year gone. And today is the Ides of March, the day when usually all the chaos of the world changes. And we are here sitting ready for Q2. Are you ready for Q2? What are you going to do differently in the next 30 days that you haven't done already in the first 90? What are you going to decide to take ownership of? Because the first pillar is really important. You need to get busy with your subconscious brain because everything comes down to your self-belief. Everything comes down to your self-belief. If you think for a moment you can't, you are right. You are right. When you start thinking you can, you are right also. So when we start thinking about how the brain works, we have to start thinking about you. It's all about you. So what does it look like? It looks like getting control of your subconscious brain early, understanding what are your beliefs around money, understanding what is it that's holding you back. I want you to write down one thing for me, and I'm going to ask you a question. If you couldn't fail, what would you be doing differently right now? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do differently right now? Write it down. If I couldn't fail, I would. Because right there is one of your limiting beliefs somewhere tucked in your brain. You don't know it's there. Like, none of you are as old as me, obviously. But I'm going to bet £1 million that when you think about your belief, you probably won't remember where it came from. You probably won't remember when you got it. You probably won't remember what shape it is, how big it is. But it's like an LP. And if you're as old as me, you remember that feeling of putting the LP on the turntable, lifting the stylus and then gently dropping the needle and that little crackly sound as you put it on. And then it only goes one way, doesn't it? And then the music plays. That's going on in your brain right now. You've got software running behind your eyes right now. That's the belief that's stopping you doing what you've just written down on that page that you would do if you actually 100% believed you couldn't fail. So, story, Jack and Ori. When I was approximately 26, I was very lucky, and I got promoted to I didn't get promoted, I got offered a directorship in a consultancy in the City of London. So I'd gone into the City of London completely bare, completely raw, knew nothing, did nothing. I'd left school, no A levels. I went into the city and I grafted my nuts off. And you know what I did? I watched people. And I watched the people who had the results that I wanted. And I thought, how are they doing that? And I was focused on the what to do, the how to do it. As I said earlier, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. But I was like, just let me I'm going to figure this out. and I modeled like mad. So I did this amazing trick of getting myself promoted every single company that I was working in until I was offered this directorship. Age 26, it was nuts. It's nuts. But I was a absolute ballsy, pinstripe suit, hair scragged back, horn rimmed glasses on, because what I saw was male success. So I modeled the hell out of it. And I became pretty much a masculine female in the man's world. I was stomping around boardrooms, thumping my fist on tables. I was drinking competitions with the guys. That didn't go so well. But I would do all the things that I saw everyone doing, because success leaves clues, right? Success leaves clues. You can see what some people have done. And if you model it, you can sometimes fluke those same results. But here was the thing. I got the results. I got the massive salary. I got the huge bonuses. I think I was on 30% commission most of the time. I worked at one job, which was 100% commission. I was selling football boards around the edge of a football pitch. Those advertising hoardings, they used to go for 150,000 US dollars a time back then. And I'd get 15% of that. So you sell one of those, you're golden. And we would work on the phones, or we'd be phoning, like 1 week we'd be selling to Russia, the next week we'd be selling to China, the next week we'd be selling to USA. And I sold boards around the edge of like the Olympics and things like that. And I became this stomping great success story, except my identity didn't shift quickly enough to match my earnings. I'll say that again. My identity didn't shift quickly enough to match my earnings, because I got so good so fast, because I was modeling so quickly, and I would match a mirror and I would echo someone's breathing rate, and they would feel in rapport with me and they'd buy from me, and I would just do all these things that I saw people doing. But then the crash came because my identity was still who I was when I started, right? So I started self-sabotage. I started to take myself out of the equation, because being successful was really uncomfortable. My subconscious brain kicked in and it wouldn't let me be there anymore. It was like, this is not you. So I started changing my actions, because what happens is we start doing an action, we get results, we then feed in the feedback, then we check it against our identity. If we get an energetic mismatch, guess what we do? We change the action that we're doing, because your brain goes, no. Your brain says, you cannot have that. You do not access this level. I'm sorry, goodbye. And it boots you out of the program spectacularly. So do you know what I did? I crashed hard. I stopped getting the results. I lost my earning power overnight, and I couldn't figure out why. I could not figure out what. I'm the same person, aren't I? Except you're not. But I'm doing the same things, aren't you? No, you're not. So we do this to ourselves if we don't address this first pillar of this self-belief that lives in your subconscious brain. So I want you to do one thing here. I want you to challenge yourself and write on the page, I am a money magnet. Just write it down. How does it feel writing that down? Does that feel aligned? Do you feel that's true? Now ask, well done, Julie, in the chat. She's done it all over it. Now ask yourself, do your actions match that phrase? Are you doing the doing that gets you to the having yet? I'm going to put yet on there because we're always talking growth mindset. I love you guys. I'm holding you safe. So do you do the actions yet that make that true? Because you might not be in alignment enough to allow the action layer to take place. Because the next step is evidence. So the next pillar that we need is what makes it true. Oh, it's all right for you, Libby. It's all right for you because you're already at the $250,000 business. It's all right for you because, you've got a title and stuff. It's all right for you. Yeah, but is it all right for you? Is it in your head yet? Are you aligned with your identity enough to be doing the actions? Yeah, don't play the compare game, says Julie. Too bloody right. Comparisonitis will kill you, guys. Comparisonitis either of activity, results, or time will kill you. Don't get in that. Don't get in that game. Come firmly away from comparisonitis and come into the modeling. Yes, 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 yes. Learning, yes, not comparisonitis. You are a unique product. You are a unique set of skills and experiences and superpowers and certificates. All of that wrapped together is what makes you powerful. I teach this in my Tame Your Brain Entrepreneur course, and it's all about getting bedrock, getting to the understanding of who you really are that really gives you your superpower. Don't ever compare. So this pillar, the evidence pillar, this is all about your identity. If you can stick with something long enough, your identity changes. If you can do something long enough, your identity changes. That's why Money Magnet runs for 30 days. It's because it's not the information that's in it that's valuable, it's the integration into your subconscious brain. Pillar number 1 and pillar number 2, they need to go together. You must integrate. If you don't integrate, you will not get the results you want. And what is it that actually links these two pillars and makes them powerful or not? It is pillar number 3. And this is perhaps the most exciting, because this is where we start to talk quantum. You are born with pure potentiality. You could be anything. When you are a baby, you have no belief system other than you need to be fed and held all the time, as far as I can figure out from my n=3 experiences. Feed me, hold me, otherwise I'll cry at you, is all they know. Over time, you put fences around yourself. Imagine being dropped from a spaceship into the middle of the American plains in the days when there were buffalo and Mustang, and you can run in any direction with your flag. What do? Instead, you put fences. You box yourself in. You start building your identity based on I am this, I am that. What happens? You stop being open to the other possibilities that are out there. So we have to get real, and we have to understand the energetics of money are very simple. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Everything has a resonance. Love has a certain frequency. I don't know if you know that. Sadness has a frequency. When we can create a vibration within us, we attract things from without us. Is the quickest way I can explain quantum physics. Bet you never thought you'd be coming to a call today where we're going to play with quantum physics. But the energetic match for the situation you want is actually what this game is all about. I'll say that again in a different way, because this is a really important point. You might think you need more technology. You might need this autoresponder or that piece of kit or this bit of software or this hardware. You might think it's reliant on that. It is not. It is reliant on the energetic level that you are resonating at. It's as simple as that. If you are an energetic match for the world of money and paper, it flows towards you. If you are not, it does not. Like I learned the hard way when my identity was not vibrating at the same frequency as my situation. So when you are in this zone where we're talking about, well, what do I do? How do I do this? Doing is a very linear masculine energy thing, by the way, guys. How do I do this? That is one thing I will teach you. Generally, you need, again, that blend of the feminine. I am on a journey to becoming more, is the way we need to think about, rather than what do I need to do right now. So when we talk about this perfect potential and linking that to this energy and emotional field, what am I talking about? What am I actually detailing here? I'm detailing how well you hold disappointment. Let me be clear on this. Your ability to cope with disappointment is the difference between you getting where you want to be and not getting there at all. Because if you cannot hold disappointment with the same level of excitement as you hold pleasure, you will not be able to handle the knockbacks. You will change your actions, which will change your identity and your results. Does that make sense? I'll say it again. If you cannot get excited about the fail, you will never achieve the successes that bring you the pleasure. Because the fail is essential. It is part of the pleasure. You just don't know it yet. You just don't know it yet. Why? Because you've got this picture in your head of what it will look like when you get to have the havings. You've got a picture in your head of what it will feel like. You don't want the thing. You want the way you think it's going to feel. You don't want the thing that you think you want. You want the feeling you think it's going to give you. You don't want the thing. You want to be the person who was able to create that thing. Let that sink, because that is actually what this is all about. It's never about the money, guys. It's who you think you'll be when you get it. That's the secret sauce to all of this. Because here's the magic trick. If I can teach you how to feel that way now, the money starts to flow. That's it. That's as simple and as beautiful as I can make this. If I can teach you how to feel the way you feel when you've achieved what you want to achieve, you will achieve what you want to achieve. When you don't, you self-sabotage. And I know that seems really silly, and you're now probably going, but if it were that simple, Libby, yeah, it is. It is that simple. It really is that simple, guys. It really is that simple. And I'm shifting at the moment. I'm shifting to the millionaire mindset because that's where I'm going this year. That's a shift that I've got to make. I've got to shift my identity and my be. I've got to change who I be to get to that. Because if I keep playing, what the thinking that gets you to where you are is not the thinking that gets you to that next level. The thinking that you applied to get you to exactly where you are now is the software you're running. It's the LP you're playing. It's the story you tell yourself about why you can't have what you want. We need to shift that. We need to integrate you. We need to turn what you've got already into what I like to call magical money. Magical money is the money that happens when you're not looking. It's the money that just comes towards you. Magical money is the money that you don't have to hustle and grind for. Because I'll tell you a secret as well. If you're striving for that thing because of how you think you'll feel when you get there, you will not feel that way when you get there. Why? Because you'll instantly move the goal. And these are a lot of people that I work with when they come to me saying, I thought it would feel great to get to 10K months, and now I want to get to 100K months, but I just feel a bit shit. Because what's happened is they've got so used to being in lack and to living in lack, they haven't yet integrated to the being that you need to be to do the doing to get the having of the next layer. So all they do is they move the goalposts each time. They get somewhere and they go, okay, next, instead of yes, please, more. When you go into a yes, please, more mindset, where you celebrate the hell out of everything you get and you love it and you absolutely get really juiced about it, guess what? You attract more like that. And the universe sees that. The universe doesn't care if you succeed or fail, guys. It doesn't care. It's not sitting there having an opinion on you. It can only answer the call you give it. So if what you're doing is putting out all this energy of, I have not got enough, I am not there yet, the universe goes, noted. And you continually live into a state of not having enough. Because that's what you put out. The universe can't help but respond. You have to go first. You have to change the way that you command the universe for the universe to reply. I know I've used the word quantum and the word universe in this talk today. I know some of you, that's freaked you all out. You're like, I thought I came here to learn strategies to make more money. Yeah, that is the strategy to make more money. That's how this game works. It comes from the being so that you can do the doing, so you can have the having. So what does this look like? What does it look like? The thing that you're protecting, the thing that's stopping you playing full out, the thing that you're holding safe is usually your ego. It's usually your ego that stops you trying in case you fail, because then it means something about you. In the end, it means nothing. In the end, that thing that you're protecting that's stopping you from succeeding, when you're lying there on your deathbed and you ask yourself, does this really matter? The answer will probably come back, please just give me more time. Please just give me more time. I'll try it. I'll do anything. I'll do whatever it takes. Because when you're on your deathbed, suddenly time becomes really important. It's you versus time. And when you run out of time, it becomes blindingly clear what actually matters to you. So at the moment, you're protecting yourself. You're running protective mechanisms around yourself. We all do it. You are holding on to something that's stopping you taking those actions. That thing you wrote down about what you tried now, if you knew you couldn't fail. The reason you're not doing that is because you're in protection mode of self. When we go into protection mode, what we do is we limit ourselves, and we don't do this consciously. This looks like, okay, I know I've got to do this piece of work. Oh, look at all this ironing over here. I'll go and do some ironing. This looks like, I know I've got to do this major thing here. I'm a bit scared of it, so I'll start tomorrow. This looks like, I know I've got to do this piece of work here, but oh, my kids need me. Great, I'll go and put them to bed instead. And suddenly you run out of life. And before you know it, you are done. Guys, we get 99 years on this planet if we are lucky. That is an incredibly short space of time. A quarter of this year is gone already. If not now, then when? And if not you, then who is going to do this for you? So, let me tell you, for those of you that want the next layer, what I can offer you to help you with this subject. Because we do have a very good system set up for those who have got the how brain, those of you that are going, yes, but how? Yes, but how? We've got a very good system set up that runs over 30 days to help you work through this, because it is a piece of work and it is something which goes right to the heart of your wiring. It goes right to the heart of the way you've lived your life until now, and that thinking that got you here isn't what you need to get to the next level. So what do you need to do? You need to think about these three pillars that we've talked about, this subconscious brain and the identity and the energy and emotions. Those are the bits that need to shift. So I'm going to tell you about my Money Magnet course. If it's not the right time for you, please feel free to just take this free content and go and have a stab at it yourself. Some people like doing that anyway. They like to figure it out on their own. If you want help, I'm going to tell you how this works. This is a 30-day immersion experience. So it's called the Money Magnet Experience. It's not called a course for a very good reason. You don't need more information, guys. What you need to do is integrate in here this piece about the being. So you can do that with me one-to-one. It's just a higher price point and it's very intense, but that is available. That is an option. However, the Money Magnet Experience is a group experience. So you're in a group of people like today. It's on Zoom. It's all like this. You're also in a Facebook group. So I give daily prompts. I give daily support. And it is me. It's not a minion. It's genuinely me popping in there, answering questions, giving you daily traction, because action gives you traction, guys. When you take action, you begin to move. You've got to overcome that inertia. And your first bit of inertia might be like, oh God, I can't afford another course right now. And again, I have to say, with love, that is fine. If that's where you are right now, that is fine. And I make a point of saying this because I've been at trainings where they beat you up with a big stick going, if you don't do this, your life is over, which I think is awful. It's an awful way to do business, and that's not my style. I'll never do that to you guys. I will always say to you, wherever you are right now is perfect, because you are on a journey of becoming. I can just help you get there faster, that's all. But wherever you are is absolutely fine, and this might not be right for you now. It might be in a few months' time. But if you're ready now, if this calls to you, if this has been triggering you today, and if this is something which excites you, I'm here to help you, because I've been through this journey. You and I are the same. I'm just a few steps further along the path, that is all. And I know what it takes to do these shifts, which is why I built this experience out of nowhere, because I'm seeing so many people right now trying to define themselves in a crowded market, and they miss this one bit, which is about the being. When we get that bit right, the other bits are easy. The other bits flow. When you sort out who am I first, and you get yourself into alignment with self, Because you imagine taking off in a plane. If you are 2 degrees out here, oh, thank you, Duncan. He's put a link in the chat. If you're 2 degrees out when you take off in a plane, where are you going to be in 200 miles time? You're going to be quite far off to the side of your destination airport, right? And you might end up in Bognor Regis instead of Bali. If you've been to Bognor Regis, you'll know where that's a bad thing. But it's more about understanding how to course correct along the way. Because how can you course correct if you don't know where you're going? How can you course correct when you don't know what your true north is, to use that phrase? How can you course correct if you don't understand here what you're on this planet to do? So that's why I built this experience out. It's incredibly cheap right now. I'm going to be very blunt. It's not going to be this price again. It's very... Duncan's, I've seen Bognor and Bali. I know which I prefer. Yes, Duncan. I know which I prefer food-wise as well. So this course at the moment is the cheapest it's ever going to be. You are also the youngest you are ever going to be, guys. You are also the oldest you've been and the most experienced you've been. There are moments in time when we need to take action because of what's happening around us. I'm also going to urge you to consider what leadership you're providing to the world right now, because that is also something that we blend into everything that we do, is about how this impacts the world around you right now. My belief is we need leaders like never before. We need people that are in alignment with self so that they can do that. That's why I'm also equally passionate about this course right now in this market right now, because when you're in alignment with self, you become incredibly strong and you live in your absolute goddess state of being rather than the stroppy toddler. And you have a choice which one is going to dominate your thought patterns this week. So have a look at the link Duncan's put in the chat. Click on it now and then you've got it when we close up here. I'm going to close up in a couple of minutes after I've taken any questions from the floor. So think about if you've got any questions. The link takes you to the Genius U store, where if you've got Genie coins, you can buy this course. Sometimes the coins that you've got sitting there, you don't know how to use them. This is a great way to spend your Genie coins because it effectively then becomes free for you. So the Genie coins can purchase this. I think it's $6.99 in the store, or you can buy the VIP version, which gets you a one-to-one with me, where we can deliberately deep dive into your neurology and we can attack those limiting beliefs together. And I'll walk you through it. And when we do a deep dive, when it is one-to-one, it's incredibly effective, because what I'm watching is your neurology as we talk, and how to help you comes from that for me. And there's an intuition around it as well. And sometimes we dive after something and someone goes, how did you know to talk about that? I'm like, don't know, just picked up, you were uncomfortable, your face moved and I saw you twitch. And we deep dive after stuff. And sometimes we uncover trauma. We work through that trauma. We unpin childhood events from meaning. From logic, one girl I worked with recently, she'd held in her head for years, I'm talking about 30 years, she'd held in her head a self-belief of not being worth it because of an event when she was 10 years old. So we tend to form our model of the world roughly between 7 and 9. And for females, and it's a little bit slightly older, sort of 8 to 10 for blokes. But this girl, when she was 10 years old, had gone to the store in the mall with her mummy and her friend and her friend's mum. And this girl was used to asking her mother for things and being told no every time, no, as happened. So she sort of stopped asking. And she goes to the store with her friend and her mother. And this friend asks her mother, can I get this magazine? And the mother goes, yeah, of course. And this girl's just like, what? Mothers do that? And she sort of turns around and looks at her mother, and her mother, out of shame because she was in front of the other mother, went, yeah, all right then, bought the magazine. So the girl goes home clutching this magazine, and her belief from that had formed without her noticing, without her feeling into it. And she then believed from that moment onwards that she herself was not worth enough. How tragic is that? From a little magazine, for that little baby girl to form in her brain, oh, it must be me because the other girl is worth it and I'm worth it when I'm with that girl, but not on my own. And she hadn't noticed that was there. And I picked up on that in a one-to-one, and we dove in. We unwired it. She's now flying. She's now doing great. Her business is booming. And she came on this course and she's done this with me. So yeah, there is a lot to be said for doing this right now. Oh, look, Duncan's pointing out some of you do have Genie coins to spend. You can check this out with me. If you think this applies to you, drop me an email today, duncan@geniusu.com. Thank you, Duncan. That's really helpful. Yeah, because Genie coins, what the hell do we do with those, right? But this is one way you can actively use them for good. Do good for you, do good for others, do good for the world is the way that we have to think about things now. It has to be that 3 layers. The time is past where we can just be self-centric, right? We have to look at the wider world around us and think, how can I help? Can you help by staying poor? Not as much. Can you help by being out of control with your neurology? Not as much. That's the other reason I'm so passionate about putting wealth into the hands of good people, because I know you can do more good. So let's close with a little thought piece that I'd like to leave you with, which is the if not now, then when? And if not me, then who? You have to go first before the universe can respond to you. You have to make a move before the universe knows what you want. You have to call towards the thing that you want before the universe can help you get there. That means taking the actions that are aligned with your belief. If those beliefs are out of alignment, the actions get wonky, the results don't happen. So make sure you're in my circle so that you get notified for these calls. I'm coming live every month on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Oh, thank you, Rob. Just put the circle in the chat. Fantastic teamwork today, guys. Loving you. And if there are people here that want to ask me more questions personally, I am opening up some discovery calls. These are open to people that haven't connected with me personally yet. If you haven't, something's dramatically changed, drop me a line. But these are calls that I open up, because otherwise I haven't got enough. There are only a few every month that are for people that want to connect with me personally. You may want to talk about personal trauma. You may want to investigate working with me one-to-one, which is an option, as I said earlier. But for the rest of you that want to jump on board the course, come on in. I think we've got 13 places already sold. We've got a couple more at this early bird price. The price does go up, but we start this week, so you can get moving straight away. It's a commitment of roughly about an hour a week's effort, input, if you like, with some daily prompts from me in the group that keep it moving, that keep getting that traction, because action equals traction, right? That help you move your identity, shift that dial, turn the barometer up. So I'm going to take any questions now. If anyone wants to ask anything, I'm here for you. You have me for a whole 5 minutes before I need to go and prep for my next call. But if there's anyone that specifically wants to ask things that are more personal, please do. Oh, the link's just gone in the chat from Rob. Thank you, Rob. Do book in, because I'd love to connect with you anyway. And make sure you do look at what you just written down today and actually ask yourself, what would I do if I did believe that it was going to work out? How would that change what I'm doing? So thank you, guys. Thank you for listening so beautifully and for interacting in the chat. Really important to do those bits. Those of you veterans that have been with me for a while now know this. Julie's been with me for a while. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Patrick. Lovely to have you. And any questions, I'm going to open mic to the floor. So unmute at will. Duncan, are you still there?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just a very quick question. Just looking at the course, or rather the experience.
The experience, Carlo, the experience.
Yes.
Good man.
It says date begins tomorrow, and I just wanted to find out, what does that mean?
So I'm doing an introduction call tomorrow, which is the pre-frame for the whole course. It covers the state that you need to be in to start. So it gives you just a quick pre-frame of what equipment you need, which is basically a notebook and a pen, what you need to set up your space like to get the most out of it, how you need to prepare for what's going to happen to you, because there will be shifts. So it's a 1 hour call, 6 p.m. tomorrow night, with me live here, exactly like this, but it's recorded. So if you can't make tomorrow night, so I had someone sign up this morning, for example, she's already got a client booked in for 6:30 tomorrow night, and she was stressing, but I've had people run through this entire experience just on Team Replay. So I have some clients over in Australia, New Zealand, and all that happens is I ask them just to tag me when they've watched it, and to try and do it within 24 hours. And they just wake up in the morning, the module's there for you in the closed Facebook group, so you can watch it at will, and then watch it and do the work, and then you're still in sync with everyone else in the group. So it's totally fine if you can't make tomorrow night, but that's when it starts. So the kickoff is tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Yes.
Yeah, I was curious because of the time zone as well.
Yes.
I
Where are you?
understand this is 6 p.m. UK time.
Yes.
Okay.
So whereabouts are you, Carlo?
No, I'm in East Coast in the US, in Maryland.
Got you. So 5 hours plus?
As of today, because we did our we came off of
you did
daylight.
your shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's 4 hours right now, and I guess
you.
probably the UK is going to do one.
We change on, I think, the 27th.
Correct. Then it will be 5.
Then it'll be 5. Yeah. So 4 hours difference. So you will still be at 2 p.m. your time.
Correct.
Got you. Yeah. But yeah. So it's up to you if you watch live. That's fantastic. If you watch team replay, that's equally fine. I think on the last calls we had 3 different time zones. I think we had Hong Kong, Australia, and East Coast US as well. And they all just dovetail in when they can. They turn up live if they want to. I did have someone at 5 a.m. their time watching live, and I was very respectful of that because that's not something I would do. But it's entirely up to you to make sure you do it at a time that serves you. But yeah, it's all recorded, so you won't miss anything.
And you did mention that they're daily prompts. So that means every day there will be something to do for the 30
There's something specific to think about every day. It's not necessarily a task, but it will take you about 10 minutes every day. Why? Because what we're doing is moving the dial. Every day there's another piece to do. What we do in the first week, I provide you with this amazing tool that is so exciting. It sounds ridiculous, but as a star profile, this is the only time in my life I've ever been excited about a spreadsheet. But I give you a think, feel, do tracker in the very first week. And the task for the first week is all about noticing what spikes you, noticing where your dial turns, and noticing what your current neurological pattern is. So we start logging in that first week. So that's the biggest load of activity is that first week. But then after that, there's prompts every day, but not all of them need that much time. Does that help?
No, that does. That does. All right. Thank you.
Love to have you on board. Have a look. There's testimonials on there as well, and there's a video reel of some people that have been through my courses, real genuine people, so you can see that this is all stuff that works. Anybody else got a question? Let me just switch my view so I can see your lovely faces. That's better. Anybody else got anything they would like to ask while I'm here? All good? Good stuff. Well, thank you for coming, guys. Check out the link, grab it before we close out today, and go and have a look. You can also look on Google My Business for my business reviews, and you can look on my website, kimkaren.com, which has also got a testimonial reel on there. So you can see lots of people saying lots of different things about me. I work with everyone from startup. I've got some 8-figure entrepreneurs now that have worked with me through several businesses. So whatever stage you're at, there'll be something that I can help you with. When the time is right, come and find me. Big love to you all. Oh, thank you. Rob's just plonked the website in there. Thank you, Xander. That's very kind. Lovely to see you all today. I'll see you back here in a month for the next Tame Your Brain call. Make sure you're in the circle so you can keep in touch. Make sure you're also on my mailing list because I do put out offers on there as well. So that's through the website. Just click on the sign up link on there, drop your email, and then you'll be linked to me on there as well. Have a lovely, wonderful day, and I will see you all soon. Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.
Thank you, Libby. Thank you to everyone, and we'll see you here next month.